things are loud.
Good.
Online. I'd like to call to order the September 10th Columbia Borough Council meeting. Could I have a roll call, please?
Council President Zink,
Here.
Councilperson Kaufman,
Here.
Councilperson Stahl,
Here.
Councilperson Fisher,
Here.
Councilperson Price,
Here.
Councilperson Murphy,
Here.
Councilperson Brigard,
Here.
Mayor Litz.
Here.
Thank you.
Did anyone want to offer an invocation? If you'd like, please rise for a moment of silence. Councilperson Brigard, would you like to lead us in a pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Announcement of executive sessions. At the conclusion of the September 3rd meeting, there was an executive session to discuss personnel matters related to replacement of staff. Are there any additions, deletions, or reorganization of the agenda? I'm not aware of anything. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as published?
Second.
A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the agenda as published. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Citizen comments, non-agenda items. The first sign up we have is Gina Coons.
Good evening, Council. My name is Gina Coons. I live at 744 Walnut Street in Columbia. And my comment tonight is concerning the trash hauling. I was unable to attend the meeting on the 3rd, and I just wanted to voice my opinion as my own opinion as to why I think we should stay with our independence and not go with one trash hauler. I'm concerned that it may be easier for the borough, but it's taking away our right to pick and choose who we would like. I also feel that the comment made that the 2 trash haulers that retired, yes, that left a void, but it did not stop the trash pickup. We were given replacements, so it wasn't like we were left high and dry to find our own person to pick up our trash. The comment made that it may be cheaper. I would like a guarantee on that. I don't see how that can be. If we're doing the whole town, I don't like the idea that one hauler is doing everybody. The comment made about the trash being left around buildings and things like that. Some of that could be your landlords who pay trash, but the tenants are not putting it out. The haulers are not going to go up and down alleys and pick up people's trash for their convenience. We have neighbors who don't put trash out. It piles up between the houses. They have landlords that are paying trash, but they don't come check. And when they do put it out, the bins sit out all week by the curb. And I was understanding that that was supposed to be when the trash was picked up, we were to carry them back. I just feel that the little guys, the independents, are just people doing their job. And I don't feel we should push them out. So my whole thing is, we have a choice for our internet, we have a choice for our phone, we have a choice for a lot of our utilities. Why do we not have a choice for who we want to pick up our trash? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next sign up is Michelle Hank.
Hi, I am here on behalf of my parents
It's Jean and Larry Van Valkenburg. They live at 1047 Locust Street in Columbia. A few months ago, we came to a tree commission meeting, and they wanted to have a tree cut down in the front of their yard because it's been losing a lot of limbs, and it's broke, the pavement's lifted, it's breaking, the roots are so big that it's breaking through the curb. They listened to what we said, kind of, but not really. They really wanted, like, no parts of hearing what the problems were. They said you can't get a tree cut down because it was a nuisance. I had asked them if any of them were an arbor. No one on that tree committee is an arbor. Someone came up and measured the tree around wise and said that it's one of the biggest trees around, and they don't want to cut down because it's curb appeal for the town. They suggested that we have the tree trimmed, which really didn't resolve the problem. It didn't resolve the limbs falling off it, the curb, the sidewalk issues. So we had the stump and tree come out, and he was originally gonna give him a quote to have the tree trimmed. He came back to my parents and he said, "We cannot trim your tree. Your tree is too far gone, and for me to charge you to have that trimmed is not right, because it's deteriorating and the tree needs to come down." So at this point, we don't know where to go next, because to go back to the tree commission, they absolutely wouldn't even hear if they said the sidewalk wasn't raised. Anybody can walk up that street, and anybody can look at the tree branches on the ground, the curb, the sidewalks lifted up, half the trees dead. So my question is, like, do you go back? Like, what do you do? They don't know what to do from here. They're not paying to get a tree trim that's gonna have to be cut down. So that's what I'm hearing. Like,
I would suggest having, the report from the certified arborist to say that the tree is dying. I mean, that would be my recommendation, because that's,
well, I called the state representative office, and I had talked to someone there twice about the situation, and they looked up some of the bylaws or whatever the tree commission has, and they strongly suggested that I go to the Borough Council, because they felt as though the tree commission weren't gonna budge.
I mean, I think if you present
Yeah.
the proof that it is dying, that would be, I mean, our code specifically gives the tree commission, the shade tree commission, the ability to administer the street trees. And that's not something that we can overturn here at this level. So my suggestion would be to get the certified arborist to say the tree is dying and it needs to come down before it causes an issue.
Okay,
Okay?
alrighty.
Thank you.
We did this before in the past, so we did.
Yeah. Right, the next sign up is Sharon Linder.
Good evening. I just wanted to quickly mention that during last week's work session, there were people who spoke from the audience that did not come to the podium and identify themselves. And I believe I sent an email to the president and vice president just to ask that we be consistent with some of the things during the meetings, because it was difficult to even see. And the one fellow, or rightly so, asked his name, but he still didn't come to the podium. So I thought it would be better, because he was actually proposing some kind of discussion, I believe with some of you up here, regarding trash hauling. So his name was Austin Mountain, thanks to Rob and But I didn't know how that gets put in the minutes if people are speaking back here and we don't know, who they are. So Thank you.
And the next sign up is Mary Wickenheiser.
Good evening. Mary Wickenheiser. Had some discussion with neighbors up in 600 block of Chestnut Street. One of the things was regarding parking spaces up there. I know it has already been commented here that we would lose parking spaces if we were to line parking spaces in residential areas, but we consistently see areas where 4 cars could park and 2 cars would park there. It's getting old. It's really getting old, I think. It's like people say, this is where I'm parking. I don't care if you can only get half the car. I'm not going to move back a little closer to the car in back of me so another car can park there. This is happening on a consistent basis. You can go up there and in front of my house almost every night. There is this little space that you might be able to get a Mini Cooper in, or something just a little bit. So I think it needs to be looked at. There's many towns, there's many cities that do that. I know Ocean City, New Jersey, where we go, they have all the streets lined for parking spaces. Okay? Comment. Handicap spaces, again. There are 2 handicap spaces out there. And at this point, the one handicap space, the woman who we felt that space was for has passed away several months ago. The handicap space is still there. When handicap spaces are renewed, should people be required to present a certificate from a doctor that they are again in need of that space? That once that handicap space is put there, it's for forever, for forever. That's like right now, I was told that there is a dentist in town who retired, and there are spaces aligned in front of that property for several that restrict parking handicap to patients 4 days out of the week. Those signs are still there. So these are just some issues that I, as a resident, are bringing to you. Now, Planning Commission, due to the scheduled PennDOT meeting next week, that is the same night as our Planning Commission meeting. And at this point, I have already advised the Borough that we will be canceling the 6 o'clock work session. We will not be holding that 6 o'clock work session. We will be holding our 7 o'clock Planning Commission meeting, but I think it's something happening over there that members of the Planning Commission should know about. I already contacted Jessica Paula that we will be canceling that. Jessica at this time had nothing urgent at that work session, so we will be canceling that 6 o'clock work session next week. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And then the final sign up is Frank Altrick.
Good evening, folks. Numerous times I brought up about hearing with the counselors and the mayor not talking into the microphone. I will say this, Heather, I never had a problem. I don't know if you have a special microphone or what, but anyway, we ought to maybe pass that around. The worst one,
I just have a loud voice.
the worst one is Barbara, you are so hard to hear. I think you talk low, but you usually have the mic over there. Kelly, he mumbles. Eric, you mumble.
Can you hear me, Frank?
It would be nice. I'm not the only one. I talk to other people in the audience at different times, but that's just something I want to bring out and try to make you aware of. The microphone slide around, pull the microphone in if you want to sit back in the chair. But anyway, I just wanted to run that by you. Along with what Sharon said with the people not getting up, for the longest time, you always made that a rule that come because this had to go through here in order to stream it.
Yes.
Well, not only that, you and council make the rules. You have a 15-minute rule. At last council meeting, there was a guy here who talked about the electric car stations. He talked an hour.
That's because that's the work session, Frank, and that's what they're for. There's no time limit on the work session.
It don't say that in the rules, though. It don't say we have a special meeting for the time, for the,
That's the whole point of the workshop, is to talk about things more in depth than what we can at a normal meeting.
a lot of things were repeated. It didn't have to be said. That was my problem. But anyway, I just wanted to make you aware of that. I shouldn't be saying this as far as the CAT meeting, but Alan supposedly is leaving the end of the year. He's moving to another area. But something's got to be done with the CAT. I understand if you have a complaint with a dog, you go to the police station, they will write up that complaint. They won't do it for a cat. Why? Cat's an animal. And something's got to be done. And it's getting out of hand. Even, I go to cat meetings tomorrow night, I go to them all the time, and it's not working like when I first started out. I don't know what we gotta do, but I'm up in the air. I can't give you an answer on how to fix it, but something's gotta be done. I was kind of hoping that maybe the cat shelter would have somebody there on a limited basis that you could go to if you had a cat. And I really wish Judy McConnell was around, because I don't think this is the way that she planned that out there. It ain't working right. I think Tammy's supposed to be there tomorrow night from the cat shelter. Maybe we can get something figured out.
What do you mean it's not working like it used to? Are they
It
not,
just-
are they not,
It's just,
are they not TNR?
it just seems like be more and more stray cats and we're not on top of it. We can't get enough volunteers, that's one thing. And then the other thing is, when you file a complaint or try to file a complaint, but there was one on there that a cat was left in a cage on a porch, no food, no water, sit there in its urine, and I don't know what came out, I don't know what happened to the cat, but I understand somebody tried to file a complaint with the police department and wouldn't take it. It was a cat, but a cat's an animal, I don't know.
I don't know, I mean, Frank, I can't answer that, but if someone's reporting, I know, if someone's reporting animal cruelty, the police will take that complaint.
Well, they would take this one. But anyway, that's, I want to bring up a point up. Two other items. Can I ask how much the past borough manager, how much was he making a year?
101.5 and change, 101 and change.
Do you know what the code officer was making? Code officer that's ahead of the code department. What do they make? They make around 50,000, am I correct?
No, they don't. Are you talking the code manager?
Yes,
That's Paula, and that's over 65.
65.
Yeah.
Plus fringes.
Yeah. plus
And same way the borough manager, that's plus fringes.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up. Thank you.
Yes, Sharon.
Could I just clear that up about the cat thing quickly? I didn't bring it up because the chief wasn't here, but I had emailed him because the information I got from the gal who had the carrier sitting on her back porch all day because she didn't know a tenant was evicted, supposedly put this cat in a carrier and left it there without food and water, and it was sitting supposedly in the semi-line. So somehow I got contacted through this whole thing because I guess CCAT. But we do not take rescues as a general rule. If somebody's willing to volunteer, we will, but it's not what we're set up to do. We're
No.
TNR.
What
And we're
works?
scheduled, right. So, I advised her, because before the chief told me any cruelty or neglect, whatever, should be reported, so I advised her to call the police and then to call Orca, which she did both. But she told me that no one responded to her about the complaint. So I emailed the chief and I just simply said, they haven't gotten a response yet. Is this something we can do? And he asked me to provide the contact information. I didn't have a phone number, but I gave her name, her full address, and her apartment. And I didn't check with her today or anything, but as of, I guess it was yesterday, or Sunday evening, whenever it was, she still hadn't heard, because he said he was gonna have someone follow up. So that's how that whole thing evolved. And I just wanted to clear that up. And CCAT is at, I think, over 300 cats over the past years that we've been in, I'll say, in business, in operation. So I think that's still pretty good. And I see a lot of cats around town with clipped ears and so forth. But I just wanted to, and that cat did get put in someone's home here in Columbia, so someone is caring for it for now.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that did not have a chance to sign up that wanted to speak? No? All right, moving on. Minutes for approval. Do I have a motion to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for August 13th, 2024?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for August 13th, 2024. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for August 27th, 2024?
Second.
A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for August 27th, 2024. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Presentation and acceptance of reports, community development.
I'd like to acknowledge the receipt of the Columbia Market House report for August 2024.
Any questions on that? All right, Public Works and Property.
Yeah, I'd like to acknowledge the Public Works and Property Report for August 2024. If there's any questions.
Just to point out, because I know this is, everyone's going to start asking and we're all going to start getting the questions. The last yard waste pickup is November 12th. And the leaf collection will begin probably mid-October, right?
Monday, October 14th.
Monday, October 14th. Yeah, I know we're getting to the point, everyone's gonna start getting questions, so we'll announce that.
I was just going to mention too, it was already mentioned by, I think, did Sharon mention it? The Columbia Wrightsville Bridge meeting is on Tuesday, September 17th at from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Columbia Market House. Just make sure everyone has that information. Frank, I know you were looking for meeting information before, so just getting it out there.
Yeah, and I'm sure probably most people in Columbia got the same card I did. I got a card in the mail today with the info. Yes, and in fact, I want to get that scanned and put on our website just for everyone to see. So, anything else in the public works? All right, presentations, we don't have any of those this evening. Mayor Lutz, Chief Brommer. Well, Mayor Lutz.
Yeah, Chief Brommer is, and most of our department are out on the beach. So he's unable to be here. Last week at the meeting, there were several residents came and talked about conditions in their neighborhood. And I want to report that codes has been monitoring those situations, and some serious actions have been taken, as much as even today. So hopefully we are resolving these issues.
Heather, could you repeat what he says? I don't know what he said.
Mike's on.
Move
Okay.
the microphone back a little bit. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Maybe you're not hearing me around the corner. I don't know, Frank.
I couldn't hear what you said.
Okay. Last week at the council meeting, got it?
Got it.
Just start yelling, Leah. That's what I
don't like
do.
yelling.
That's good.
Several residents came about the conditions in their neighborhood. And I wanted to report tonight that actions, and some of those actions are quite serious, have been taken regarding those properties. So hopefully we can resolve the problem and improve the quality of life in those neighborhoods. The other thing, the first thing I said, Chief Brommer isn't here tonight because he's out on a detail. There's an issue they're working on right now. The other thing I want to report is on October 12th at 9 a.m. in the Market House, the Columbia Borough Police Department is going to host, along with some other professionals, a safe gun handling seminar. We don't advocate for gun control, but what we want to do is we want to make an attempt to educate young and old alike to safe gun handling and some of the problems with someone handling a firearm that they're not familiar with. So what we're going to try to do is bring this out and educate folks. Just to give you an example, if someone hands you a firearm, you don't know how it works, hand it back to them. Those kind of things. So our range officers and some other professionals will be there to talk and do some demonstrations and all, and people ought to come out and see it. You never know. If we can save just one life by someone becoming familiar with what you need to do and what you don't need to do or what you should not do, we will have achieved our goal. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you. Yes, Frank.
Leo, should we bring our own guns?
No. We'll have enough.
Okay.
Only water pistols, Frank.
All right. Action items. Oh, it's a little lively tonight. Must be these loud microphones making it lively, huh? All right, action items. First, do I have a motion to approve extending an offer of employment to Stephen Kaufhold for the position of Borough Manager at a starting rate of $100,000 per year, contingent upon background check and drug screening with start date to be determined?
Second.
A motion by Councilperson Price, second by Councilperson Fisher, to approve extending an offer of employment to Stephen Kaufhold for the position of Borough Manager at a starting rate of $100,000 per year, contingent upon background check and drug screening with start date TBD. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Yes, Sharon.
I have a question about more the procedure, I'm not sure what you would call it, but how is it that Councilman Murphy is listed as a reference and people be voting for that position? Just seemed awkward to me. I just wondered how that works.
Guess, I'm sure it's he put on because I was on the Borough Council at the time that we hired him previously in 2018, I believe.
Oh, right, I'm not objecting,
No, no.
but being a reference, I'm wondering about how then you vote for that
But
position.
there's no pecuniary interest.
Interest,
No,
correct, yeah, there's no
That's fine.
conflict of interest.
I was
Yeah.
just curious how that would work. Thank you.
Pecuniary, I like that word. It's right up there with administration. Yeah, Frank.
I guess if I was going to question anything, I'll back up a little bit. I didn't know much about Steve. I asked around. Everybody I talked to, they all say he's a good guy. One thing in favor of his unemployment is he's a veteran. Very good. I'll give you 2 good points there. I have a problem with giving somebody, or giving, not necessarily Steve, he just has to be the one that's in to run for this position, $100,000 when the prior borough manager was making $101,000, what you just said. Now, here's a guy that's starting. I haven't seen one place that he worked at another municipality as a borough manager. No, the references didn't mention it. I didn't see it nowhere. But why would you give somebody $100,000 starting salary? Somebody answer me that.
So, Frank,
You're in the hot seat.
so market conditions, Frank.
Yeah.
Market conditions.
Yep.
That's why, because that's what the going rate is. Actually, it's more than that. It's a lot more than that.
We advertised this job also when we first put this out, with the consultant that we used. We set a range of 100,000 to 125, I believe.
Yes, 125.
So, if you're the person, you're interviewing your job, and you see that it says $100,000 is gonna be the minimum starting rate, and they ask you to be hired, and they come in and ask you, oh, we'll give you 85 instead. That's kind of contrary to the way the job market works. I mean, I've been working consulting contracts for years, Frank.
Not only that,
Not the way it
Frank,
works.
the gentleman, he came in, he told us right off the bat, you're gonna have a hard time finding someone.
I guess.
The majority of the people that sent up resumes wanted between 140 and 180.
I guess if you had an experienced borough manager like Mark had that position a couple of times. I don't know his record. I don't know what he did. Probably I could see that. But am I correct that if this is a starting salary, he will go a couple of months and then get a raise? Is this the way this works?
That's part of the budget discussions. That's not set in stone yet.
Is it fair to answer the question that he posed about if the exiting manager made such and such, and an incoming manager, why is he making so much,
So close.
so close? Why is that gap? Why is there not a gap there? I'm gonna address that as well, because she already did, which was market conditions. The fact of the matter is that our outgoing manager was well underpaid for the role, for the going rate, what the market conditions are for an experienced borough manager, because he chose to be here under those conditions. So that's why those numbers seem to be so close. And it's a fair question. I understand the observation, but that's the explanation.
Okay, and how many, the headhunters, how many people did they interview for this position?
48,
Interviewed.
yes.
How many did Borough Council interview?
3.
Right.
And the main reason for that, because everyone wanted between $130,000 and $180,000.
So you didn't,
plus 8 weeks of vacation and a bunch of other things that we could not provide.
And to interview those people, Frank, coming in, knowing we couldn't pay that anyway, we didn't want to do that.
No.
We wanted to go where we knew we were comfortable to pay, instead of taking interviews from people that wanted a lot more money.
see, this is the difference from being out here and up there. You just have that information. Some of it makes sense when you talk about it. But I hope he works out. When he was here before, he was here, he ran the codes, and then he resigned and went to the redevelopment authority. And he's still there yet. Do you know his current salary now?
Approximately, yes.
Say it again.
Approximately, yes.
Yes,
Yes, I do.
could you share it?
I'm not gonna,
That's
that's not,
personnel.
that's personnel, I'm not,
When he left, why did he leave?
to go to the redevelopment authority.
And why?
For a different opportunity, I don't know.
Okay, well, usually people give a reason when they leave. It's no.
He was recruited by,
Right,
he was recruited by the redevelopment
Okay.
authority
correct,
because of the job he was doing in Columbia Borough.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Don't worry, turnabout's fair play. I saw Justin yesterday.
Yeah, okay, that's what we had for the time being. Thank you.
Any further questions, comments, concerns? I have a motion by Councilperson Price and a second by Councilperson Fisher to approve extending an offer of employment to Stephen Caulfield for the position of Borough Manager at a starting rate of $100,000 per year, contingent upon background check and drug screening with a start date to be determined. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Congratulations, Steve. Thank you.
Frank, I'd be happy to talk to you. Didn't know you were back there.
Yeah, I saw Justin yesterday and I, tried to walk past him. But, all right. Next, could I have a motion to authorize the bill payments?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl to authorize the bill payments. Are any questions, comments, or concerns on the bill payments? I didn't. You have some?
Yeah, on page 1, Jay Marciano.
Jody Marciano, yes, she's the payroll specialist.
Okay. Okay,
She's the payroll specialist from Brown.
got it. That's what I got it.
Yep.
That whole. Thank you.
Yeah. Sharon,
Again, to elaborate on what Todd asked, what did that mean on page 1 then there, interviews were 4 times under that auditing? What was that about?
Brian is the accounting specialist, and he sat in on interviews with us for the finance manager,
Okay.
because none of us really,
Okay.
how do you interview a finance manager?
I was curious what that was about. And also on page 3, there's a bill pay for gas signs. How many flags did we get for that price? It says flags for the.
I believe 2,
For $1,048.
yeah.
That is pretty steep, I think, for 2 flags. I was just pretty surprised about that. I saw them hanging out here, but I thought that seemed kind of really too high. But, okay, thank you for clarifying.
Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns on the bill payments? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl to authorize the bill payments. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? New business. Derek would like us to discuss the disposition of the house at 700 Franklin Street. I told him we put it on here tonight so that we could decide what to do, so we could bring it back at the next meeting for possible motion. Unless we wanted to do that tonight, but I think we'd like to see the options first. So Derek, go ahead.
Sure. So we basically have two options out there. I won't reiterate the whole executive brief, but I think you're all aware that house needs to move. It's right where we want to put a road, so it's not going to be conducive to have that home stay. This is the address so that I have it right. It's 700 Franklin Street. It's the former Klein property, so everyone knows what we're talking about. So we had previously discussed the option for demolition of the house. I am estimating the demolition is going to cost in the neighborhood of $20,000. That is assuming that we don't run into any abatement issues in the house, asbestos, anything along those lines that would need to be taken out. That would all be in addition to that. Instead of just demolishing it, another option would be for the council to put out a bid to attempt to sell the home with the provision that the home be relocated by a certain date, preferably spring of next year. So at this point, just moving forward, I'm looking for some direction from council as to what you'd like to see done out there.
Is anybody done an evaluation on the sturdiness condition of the home to see if it really could be moved?
We have not performed a structural evaluation. I can just tell you that from me walking through it, Jake's been in it. It appears to be a very well-built home. The maintenance is impeccable, and it's some of the nicest HVAC work I've ever seen in my life. So it appears as though it would be feasible to move the structure based on the size and shape. Pick it right up off the basement and move it. And again, if the home was in worse shape, I wouldn't have any qualms about demolishing it. But considering the superior condition of the home, there could be an option that somebody might be interested in.
Is there any lots or anything that in the area, not in the immediate vicinity, but you're certainly not going to drive it 4 or 5 miles?
Do you know of any, Frank?
Frank, do you know of any lots?
Any lots available in the neighborhood?
Move that too?
Need a house, Frank?
I'll tell you where I'm at with it. I got a hold of a moving company, told them about what I had in mind, give them addresses, which they could get over the internet and all that. The last thing we talked about was moving it without taking the porch off, the overhead, and moving it with it on. Now, my feeling is they'd probably take the siding off and then put kickboards up there to hold that on. But he said the problem would be, is the street wide enough if we did that? So I had to get more measurements that I didn't get back to him. My own lot that I got, I just started this week, just clearing a little bit as I can get out there and do it. I got some other problems going on, and I didn't get much done with that, but I didn't get back to them with the measurements and everything that I should have got back with them. But the last thing we talked about was the porch. He said to let the porch on and move it that way. Now the cement part, that would all have to come away.
Yep.
So that's as much as I know for the time being. It's just time. I just didn't have the time to get back to them.
Yeah. And again, this would have to go through a bidding process, so it isn't like we're negotiating directly with Frank here. But at this point, I felt it important just to bring to council for your consideration before we spend 20 grand and tear it down. Is there, do you want to take a risk here and pay to advertise for a bid for this home? It would cost you money in advertisement and legal to do it. You might not get any bids, and then we have to tear it down anyway. But those are kind of the decisions.
Question. The estimated cost for demolition, you have at 20,000. Does that include the basement?
No.
No. So
This
the
is af-
basement, the basement's gonna go in with the remediation.
Yeah,
correct?
my plan, I tried to put that number in there, is literally an apples to apples number. That's a tear down and haul away of the structure. We would likely have to temporarily fill the basement if the house comes down sooner rather than later. We are still looking at needing to demolish the old garage near the McGinnis homestead, so that's gonna come out no matter what. But in our last discussions, we'll have the basement, we'll have the concrete pad then for the Quonset hut and also the former garage. That all makes sense to keep that in the abatement project and when we already have big equipment out there. So my view here is that if you demo it, you're just taking the structure down and leaving the basement. If you move it, you're moving the structure and leaving the basement. So it's apples to apples.
Thank you.
Say that again. If you move the house, you're gonna move the basement too?
No. The
Okay,
basement,
all right.
yeah, the house,
Okay.
yeah, for the scope of the demolition, we would only bring a demolition contractor in to tear the house down. I would not include the jackhammering and removal of the basement as part of it, because we're about to bring some really big equipment onto this site. So I think it would be way more cost effective to leave the basement there in a protected manner and demolish it as part of the larger earthwork project that begins.
Could the basement not be used to fill in all the cement that was there for the porch, and you could not fill that in with the cement?
Well, you could easily, you
Yeah,
jackhammer
it'd be good
it,
fill.
push it all in. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You would, but again, I just wouldn't do that under the demolition contract. I would do it under the McGinnis earth remediation contract when they have larger equipment out there.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago at the market house, a guy approached me and knew about the house but didn't know much. He was going to check into it. He has another property out in that area. He could afford to do it. He just said he's going to check into it, so hopefully maybe that'll get some interest too. I don't know much of his name, but he didn't say I could do that.
Is there any reason it can't be used on this property itself, industrial park, as an office space or something that's not feasible?
We would have to pull it off of there and store it somewhere until we could move it into position, which isn't really.
It would end up costing us more than $20,000 to do that. So at that point, it makes sense just to start or allow the plan of McGinnis to be whatever it's gonna be.
Yeah, if you're
aside
gonna
from
pick
that.
it up and move it, you're gonna wanna put it down where it's gonna go. And yeah, it's tough to say, again, with the scope of what we're doing out there as an industrial, business park. It'd be a tough sell to utilize that structure, especially it being a residential structure, to try to retrofit that into some sort of usable office space. I'm just not sure if
And if we
good thought,
do,
Todd.
yeah, if we do demolish it, there are things in there that we could salvage to be used in the new, Public Works building.
That is true.
like the kitchen and things. So, yeah, we can salvage some of the stuff.
Evan, what's the lowest amount that we would legally have to pay to advertise it? In other words, if, say we would have sort of like a head nod or a handshake, so to speak, that there is gonna be a bid.
Yep. You would be in, depending on exactly how long, it's by the word essentially. You would likely, I would say, that kind of advertisement, you only have to do, I think, one time. And it would be probably $400 to $500, I would think, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah. I can't imagine it would be over $1,000 by any stretch, so.
But with that said, you could set your limit at whatever to cover the cost of the incur.
Steve?
So I just want to let you know, I did talk to the redevelopment authority about this building. They have a lot of interest in this building. So I had a council member come out and look at it, and I also had the administrator of the land bank also look at it. They both felt this would be a waste of a house to just tear it down. So they have certain funding. I think if we could at least have a little bit of time before we advertise it to get redevelopment authority in to see what they can do. Maybe till the next council meeting, a couple weeks, we can start having some discussions about how they can help us. I think at this point, they're anxious to do it, but again, it's where we're gonna put it. So that should be some discussions that we should have, take, because that's their number one goal is for housing. Plus, if we say this, it's another house on the tax list.
And that's a nonprofit, so we could do that.
I
correct?
do believe, I do believe that
Thank
you
you.
can, and my voice is echoing now. But yes, I do believe that would not require you to go through the bidding process or anything like that if the redevelopment authority was the recipient of that house.
Just like the CDC.
Correct, yep.
Yes.
If I may, there's some very interesting comments coming out here. One that really caught my ear was Frank's comment about the street width. Can that house be brought up that street? I think that's something that's important. And it made me think, and then Steve talked in here, Derek, I'm having a hard time picturing the site, but is there a way, even with some small excavation, that if someone were to want to move the house, could it be, and it wouldn't be able to go up 9th Street, could it be moved through the McGinnis site?
Might be tough moving some, in its current state. It
Yeah.
wouldn't mean that there couldn't be some earthwork done to accommodate that. I mean, again, knowing that the future street connection would be Franklin to 11th, I mean, you're not getting up to 11th without some significant earthwork there. You might be able to get it around the 12th, but
Mine
Could
is
be
a pretty standard width.
Well, I'm not sure, I'm just looking, here's what I'm looking at. Here's a house, and I think all of us will agree, it's a very well-constructed, well-taken care of house that shouldn't be lost to demolition. If there's a way that we can somehow get this house out of there, that someone can use it, preferably in Columbia, that would be great. And so I agree with everybody what they're saying. And I was just wondering, is there another avenue? If we can't get up 9th Street, is there another way to get that out? I would hate to hear have us say, it won't fit up 9th Street, so therefore we're going to tear it down. No, in other words, let's use our heads a little bit and see if we can't get it out of there some other way. Thank you.
9th Street is a little bit crammed with the trees that line it, but there is Franklin over to Plain. And if cars are not parked along the side during the duration of the move, I think it would be at least a good chance that it could fit. Now, the other question would be wires, is height.
I'm thinking.
Once you're on Manor, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's, yeah, Frank.
Another option. Every Sunday, I go to breakfast with my kids. Out in the back road to Moundville, the outfit that I went to about moving this is by name of Wolf. There was a house too close to the road, and when they put all them houses in out there, they paid to have this house moved back about 10, maybe 15 foot. Is there room to move this house back? It has a big yard. It's a matter of putting a foundation in and just sitting everything right on it.
Yeah, but Frank, that's where the road is coming.
The road's going down,
No,
No, going down.
Franklin Street will be extended and then will literally go right through the house.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that takes care of that.
Yeah.
If you move it back, you're gonna be in the,
Stormwater.
stormwater retention basin.
Okay. All right, I didn't know that.
It could be a houseboat.
Yeah.
All right, so how about we wait for a little bit until the next meeting?
Yeah.
I mean, this is why we wanted to talk about it
Yep.
tonight. If there's more things, we may be able to,
This is not something you have to act on in the next 2 weeks, but
No.
this is it's a kind of a piece of moving the project forward.
yes,
And it's good we talked about it tonight so we can have some more time to think.
right. I think we were saying by the end of October, we want to have a solid plan on that.
I'd like to,
Yeah.
I mean, when we break ground in the spring, we could even work around it a little bit then, but preferably this home should be demolished or moved by spring next year.
Well, yeah, because I want to be able to include that foundation in with the remediation
Correct.
bid.
Yes.
And we can't do that if the house is still sitting on.
Yeah.
So, all right. Yes, Sharon?
Just quickly, I just wanted to say that Ron was lucky enough to look in the house myself too, and I agree with what everyone has said. But we paid almost $250,000 for that house, right? It was around $229,000. So I think it would be silly to squabble about advertising for $400 or $500 at this point to preserve it, that somebody could use it. Thank you.
All right. Next, we received a request for Merchants Association to host free parking on Saturdays from November 30th through February 15th. They beat us this year. Last year, we beat them. This year, they beat us to the request. I'm gonna say what I said last year. I am fine doing it November 30th through January 1st or whatever that is. I don't understand why we need to go into February 15th.
I have a suggestion or an idea that we utilize or look into utilizing Park Mobile exclusively for this. And there are ways that I don't understand, but that we can find out how to create either a special event or, in this case, free parking Saturdays promotional, that the merchants can validate the parking of their customers. So like one of the things that's been brought up in the past is if we have free parking through the weekends and on the Saturdays, and then it's not used by those coming to shop at our stores here in Columbia, but instead it's filled up by people parking over the weekend who live here, then it's not truly fulfilling the purpose. But we can you can do any number of things with that. You could have free parking for the whole day or whatever with a code, or you could have a 3-hour window, like free parking for 3 hours. So that's, or whatever you make it, and essentially allow the spirit, so to speak, of free parking Saturdays to continue, but still have a little bit of a grip on keeping our traffic flowing, keeping parking not all clogged up with just our residents parking there all weekend.
Share your idea with any merchants association.
No, not yet.
Tonight, the only concern I would have is your thoughts are, the meters work both ways. So, you almost have to post it somehow with the meters.
The meters work both ways.
They accept quarters.
What's that?
They accept quarters.
Yes,
So you have to either use Park Mobile or Quarter.
correct.
So how?
So, and this is where, this is new business, so I'm coming at this not
Oh.
fully informed, but that I know Park Mobile it does work with, you can set up promotional
Yes.
parking,
If we were fully under the app alone.
right.
It'd be great. It's really easy.
Well, so for enforcement, primarily this is an enforcement issue. Because our parking enforcement checks both the meter and Park Mobile.
Mhm.
And so if someone comes in to shop and the merchant then is able to validate their parking, then they're clear. It shows that they paid. So when enforcement comes through, their parking is paid just like any other time, except they don't actually have to pay. It's a promotional code that's put into the app.
I believe there are some possibilities with Park Mobile. I honestly think the challenge, though, is we have an older population here as well that may face some technological challenges, and mandating Park Mobile could be an issue.
Could be a bit of an issue.
But it's worth having a deeper discussion on this, and maybe there's some way that we work it with both the meters and Park Mobile.
I mean, if the meters are covered and we're not enforcing, then in some ways it's like, well, we don't even have to go to the trouble of creating a validation code or special event parking.
Although I think we should, even though we cover the meters, I would still use the app and it's downtown just for advertising that that's comedy.
Mhm. Yeah. I think the other thing, I'd like us to look into what all we can do with that, because I think there could even be, say, discount parking that the merchants could purchase for their clientele, and just different options that we could explore that would benefit our businesses downtown.
I would like to get rid of the individual meters altogether and get kiosks, because we pay how much for Jim Wolpert to walk around and check on the meters? How many times do we still get complaints that the quarters don't register anyway and everything else? And that way we post one sign, per block, or two signs per block, instead of having to do every individual meter.
We pay the meter technician $200 a month.
Yeah.
But the greater challenges that we're having with meters today is getting spare parts.
Yep.
So
I mean,
at some point in time in the near future, a serious
it's gonna have
discussion
to.
needs to be had.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Mary, I saw your hand up back there.
You start talking Park Mobile. I don't have it. I'm one of those older people that puts the quarters in. When you're talking Park Mobile, I wouldn't know parts of it. If I had to do that, I wouldn't even come downtown to drive, because I wouldn't do it. And to be able to say, it's either free parking or it isn't free parking. It's one or the other. This idea of tickets and stamping and scanning, and it's either free parking or it's not. Thank you.
I heard you say, Heather, about taking the meters out completely, and you used something, I didn't hear what the word was. How would that work if you took the meters out completely?
You can get like a kiosk.
Yeah.
And so they have them in Lancaster City. It's just a big box. It's like, and you put in your license plate number, and maybe it's your parking space number or whatever, but you put in your license plate number and you pay for parking there. how long you're gonna park. And you can put your money in, or you put a credit card in, or whatever.
How many of them boxes is in a block?
Just one usually, or two.
One box, it's like a mailbox for the one, so you have to go to that, you can park there, and you walk to that. Okay, I didn't know what it was. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, they have them in Lancaster City.
How does it work with handicap people then? If they have to walk to the, I don't understand that.
Handicap don't pay for
They
parking.
don't pay anyone.
They don't pay anyone.
Okay.
2 hours.
All right.
Heather, getting back to this request. I agree with the thought of taking it back to January 1, 2, somewhere in there. I know Valentine's Day, that's probably the reason for it, but I'm moving more to the holidays. The other part of that is, last year, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, the Merchants Association was tasked with putting the signs or bags up and taking them down.
It was a cooperative effort, and we moved away from the bags because we ended up having to chase those all over the borough.
Yeah.
So we ended up putting some signage up, which we feel was more effective, and we were didn't create as much work for us.
But what I seen was last year, some of them didn't get taken down for one reason or other.
The signs.
Yeah. So, we're giving the merchants, not giving merchants anything to help them out, but we're giving the merchants free parking. Yeah, we're gonna pay for people to put up signs and take signs down every Friday. Well, Saturday.
Yeah, actually, if we post the signs, it'll be throughout the entire period.
Oh, you're gonna post them,
Which is what we did last
free
year.
parking Saturdays, this date to this date.
That's
And the
right.
signs.
That's right.
I thought the signs were going up and then coming down each week.
No.
Good.
No, and the merchants are gonna pay for the printing and laminating.
That's wonderful. I didn't want to see us out there every week putting signs up, taking signs down. I understand we'll have several places, but not all. Okay.
Yeah.
President St. do you remember what we approved last year?
We approved, last year we approved, from the end of November, from Thanksgiving, Small Business Saturday, through, the end of December.
And then,
And I'm looking at the calendar, that would be November 30th through December 28th.
and then did they submit another request for their Valentine?
Yes, they did. Yeah, it was like 2 Saturdays in February. I think so, yes.
I would approve that we do it the way we did it last year.
And honestly, I would like to be able to say, as standard, this is what we do, instead of having to, to me, that just makes more sense. But, as far as this specific event request, I'd like to say from November 30th to December 28th. Does anyone have a problem?
Is November 30th,
Small Business Saturday?
that it?
Yes.
If you were to make it so that it's standing, then why don't you make it Small Business Saturday through,
January 1?
January?
January, but it's not but that's not always, the 4th isn't always gonna be
So
a Saturday.
To do.
First Saturday after January 1.
Small
Small
business,
Business Saturday through
the first Saturday in January.
first Saturday, January. And then do the first 2 weeks of, week, 2 weeks prior to Valentine. First 2 Saturdays prior to Valentine.
I'd rather consider that separate, because that
That's true, that is.
Yeah,
something.
that's kind of a separate thing, but, I mean, as a matter of just
No,
the
yeah.
borough, you know. All right, well, let's approve this request, and then, we can put that on for a future one, right? To make that, we could do a resolution.
Yes,
We'll
absolutely,
do
yeah.
that as a resolution at an upcoming meeting. Okay, so, yes, Frank? Yeah, I'm getting good at them resolutions.
If we give the free parking for all that time, what do we do with the Gestapo? Lay him off?
It's only
It's
Saturday.
only Saturdays, Frank.
Well, it's not weekdays.
No, just Saturday.
Saturday only.
All right, so, does anyone have a problem voting on this one tonight? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the Columbia Merchants Association request to host free parking Saturdays from November 30th through the first Saturday in January, contingent upon the Merchants Association paying for the paper and laminating sheets? The motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the Columbia Merchants Association hosting free parking Saturdays from November 30th, 2024 through the first Saturday in January, contingent upon the Merchants Association paying for the paper and laminating sheets. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. I am going to make a note on my one.
No, we're gonna come back for a request then for the Valentine's Day thing.
Yeah, if that's what they
If that's
want,
what they want.
yeah. Just make a note on the one note so I remember that resolution. All right, next, there is a motion to approve the Merchants Association to host the annual Santa Parade on Saturday, November 30th, beginning at 8 a.m., following the regular parade route, ending at Third and Locust, contingent upon receipt of the required application fee. Does anyone have any questions, comments on this?
Hey, both of these things be removed as March 5th.
Yeah, someone's still using the old application that still has Mark's name. I forgot, I wanted to email you that, Jack. Make sure we're using the right, yeah. And, we'll be getting updated, letterhead as well, so I'll make sure everyone gets a copy of that. Does anyone have a problem voting on the Santa Parade tonight?
No.
Santa's coming to town? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the request for the Merchants Association to host the annual Santa Parade on Saturday, November 30th, beginning at 8 a.m., following the regular parade route, ending at 3rd and Locust Street?
Second.
Motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the request for the Merchants Association to host the annual Santa Parade. It's coming to town. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? I know him. And then we have a request to approve hiring Ron Stauffer as a part-time crossing guard. This brings us to a full number, correct? Does anyone have a problem voting on this one tonight? All right, good.
Would that be
So
approved?
you're cool, is that what you're saying?
Yes. Oh, yeah,
I said you're on.
do I have a motion to approve hiring Ron Stauffer as part-time crossing guard beginning at the non-uniform contract rate of $17 per hour and contingent upon successful completion of the required background check, medical exam, and drug screening? The motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price. Approve hiring Ron Stauffer as part-time crossing guard. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. So we're full for now.
It's gonna be all right. Thank you.
Good job. All right, staff reports, comments, and announcements. Solicitor Gable.
Not too much to report tonight. We have been working on the legal descriptions for all of those lots surrounding the McGinnis subdivision. Derek got those to us and we're working up those deeds. And I believe we are planning to have I'll say a signing party, try to get as many of those taken care of as possible. Once that goes through the process at the Planning Commission, we've got to get the approval for that final subdivision plan at the Planning Commission, and then we will go ahead and get that done. But we'll have the deeds prepared ahead of time so we can go ahead and get that taken care of. I do need to get with Jessica Fieldhouse to try to get that nuisance ordinance taken care of for you guys. I was glad to hear that Paula has been really working on some of those things that came up last week. So, but we're gonna get that meeting together, and Kelly, I will get with you to make sure that we are taking care of that. So.
All right.
Evan,
Yes.
Craig, can you, Derek, putting that package together, the, Evan, or Derek, does that have any bearing on us getting our NPDES approved for the conservation district? Okay. Because I wasn't sure if they wanted one parcel to rule on or
It doesn't matter. In an MPDS permit, you're setting your permit boundary, and that doesn't necessarily have to follow property lines. So we set the permit boundary based on what the new property line is going to be. The conservation district isn't doing title searches or worried about any of that.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure when I talk to them, what they're talking about.
Okay. That's all I have for this evening.
All right, and then Borough Engineer.
I'll piggyback on Evan. So yeah, we do have a big planning commission meeting coming up next week where we'll be reviewing the McGinnis subdivision plan. Tomorrow I will have packets going out to all of the surrounding property owners, which include a copy of the most current version of the subdivision plan and a letter describing what we're doing out there and notifying them of our upcoming party, giving them a formal invitation to that, giving them an invitation to come to the planning commission meeting if they have any concerns. But I just want to flush all of that out before the plan gets approved and we're ready to sign. Again, I think everyone out there is on board based on our previous conversations, but I'd just like to check one more time. Other things of note is you may see Reamstown excavating around town. They are replacing ADA ramps right now to get ready for the Borough Public Works crew paving projects for this year. And we also have the Riverfront Storm Sewer pipelining project is out for bid right now. That opens on September 19th.
So will we have that for the 24th?
I hope so.
Okay, I'll make a note of that. All right, anything else?
Everyone knows about the CDBG award. Is that announced?
Yes.
Okay. That's it. $200,000 for the 900,000 block Walnut Street.
Yep. All right, Secretary Treasurer.
Last time, right?
Sound a little too anxious.
I'd just like to make everybody aware of the 462 bridge work that's supposed to start this week. Most of that work will be on the Wrightsville side. I think lanes will stay open. I think there might be a lane shift, and it'll still be open to pedestrian traffic. I believe that work's supposed to last till close to the end of the year.
Boards, commissions, and committees, our upcoming meetings. We have HARB on September 11th, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Parks and Rec is September 12th at 6 p.m. Planning Commission is at 7 p.m. on September 17th. And as Mary stated, the work session at 6 p.m. on the 17th is not happening. because it should be noted again, for anyone that didn't hear, September 17th, there is a public meeting by PennDOT in the Market House from 5 to 8 concerning the 462 bridge project. And if I read it correctly, it's not the whole time, like one meeting, it's a drop-in, it's, you know, they're gonna have the videos and stuff showing what's gonna happen, the cool gantry train that I learned what is, and, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. There are no minutes in your packet. Borough Council comments, Councilperson Brevard, Councilperson Fisher, Councilperson Kaufman.
Yes, for Parks and Recs. Parks and Recs now has a Facebook page. It's strictly for events. So they'll be using that page to post events. What I appreciate if y'all like and share.
Send me an invite, okay?
Second thing with Parks and Rec is September 28th, they're doing a chalk the wall. There's a flyer on our page. There's flyers throughout the stores in Columbia as well. And they will have sign-ups the fourth Friday event out front here. So that's all I have to say on Parks and Rec.
All right, anything else?
That's it.
All right.
Yeah, Evan already provided the update, that was everything else.
Nothing. Thank you.
I have one announcement. On Wednesday, October 16th at 10 a.m., there will be a bridge dedication ceremony. It'll be in the little parking lot behind Burger King, and it is dedicating the official dedication for the Major General Edward C. Shannon Memorial Bridge. There may be, at this point, we're not sure when PennDOT is gonna put the official signs up, but we have requested that they keep them covered if someone sees them. We can't guarantee they'll be covered, but they may be covered, but it's gonna be a good ceremony to dedicate that, and I have lined up Claire Storm to talk, since that was her suggestion, and asked her to talk about why she was inspired to get his name on there, so come on out to that. It'll be rain or shine, but if it's like really raining, we'll be down on the deck at the crossings.
What time did you say?
10 a.m. Yeah, Senator Allman's office and Representative Miller's office, they're all, the senator and representative are coming, so it should be a good thing. And I believe that is it. Announcement of speaking of the announcement of next meeting. Next Thursday, we are scheduled to have our first budget meeting, and we are not ready for that yet. So we're gonna cancel that one, and we're gonna hit it hard in October. Also, at that October meeting, I have Laurie working on contacting the people that we give money to, the Veterans Council and the cemetery, the library, and to have them come in to talk at that meeting. So that'll be the big budget. All right. So taking off that. So the next regular meeting of the Columbia Borough Council will be September 24th at 7 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn? I have a motion by Councilperson Price and a second by Councilperson Kaufman to adjourn at 8:24 p.m. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? We're adjourned. We have checks to sign. I need a please sign.
Here's the.